In today's video, I'm going to reveal my complete Korean study routine and the exact methods that helped me become conversational in just 6 months instead of years. So stay with me until the end because I'm going to share 3 powerful Korean shortcuts that traditional textbooks and courses never taught me. So these techniques focus on the 20% of Korean that gets you to 80% of your daily conversation skills. So I've been living in Korea for a year now, and I still use every single one of these tools. They're not just for beginners. These resources are really helpful at any level of your language learning. So whether you're just starting out and looking to strengthen your conversational skills, these tools can help you build confidence and make consistent progress. So first, you need to start with the absolute basics. So make sure to take notes or save this video because I'm going to walk you through step by step what you need to study in order to actually learn Korean in 6 months. You'll be doing your own crash course, so of course you can tailor your study plan to your preferred methods, but there are several main areas and concepts that you absolutely must learn in order to really know Korean. And the first one is Hangeul. It is crucial that you learn Hangeul. That is the Korean alphabet. And most Korean courses will start off by introducing you to Hangeul. So Korean is a language with a different alphabet, and to truly learn the language, you will need to be able to read and write the alphabet. So the good news is that you can definitely learn the basics of Hangeul in about a day with the right study method. And if you don't learn Hangeul, you'll be stuck in reading the romanizations of words, which is the Korean words but written with English letters. You'll soon see that the romanization feels awkward and it doesn't fully capture the right sounds compared to the real Korean alphabet. So I recommend staying away from the romanized words as much as possible because the more you practice reading and writing in Hangeul, then of course the easier it's going to become. And the quicker your brain will comprehend the letters and also start to pick up on the Korean spelling norms. So it's just like when you learn to read and write English for the first time. Now, mastering various syllables and reading smoothly in Korean is definitely going to take time, but learning Hangeul is typically not as difficult as people expect when they start learning Korean for the first time. And Hangeul has 14 consonants and 10 vowels, and each letter has a sound just like in English. Together, the letters form syllables, and once you learn the letters, then you'll be reading a new alphabet in no time. So it is a really exciting milestone. Then, to practice using Hangeul, the easiest method is to practice with words that you already know. So if you have an interest in learning Korean already, then chances are you already know a handful of words like 안녕하세요 or 감사합니다. And if not, and you're interested in Korean media, then you can just practice writing the names of your favorite Korean singers or actors to get familiar with the letters. And that's actually exactly what I did when I first learned Hangeul, and it made it really fun. So if you want to learn Hangeul today or reinforce what you've already learned, then we've actually created a free resource where you can learn Hangeul in only 90 minutes using visual associations and fun stories. So I'll link it down below. Next, you'll need to start learning basic words to build your vocabulary. So learning words will require some memorization, but you can't learn a language if you don't know the words. So you can start by just learning the most common 10 Korean words and then move on to the most common 20 words and then 50 words and 100 Korean words. And the Anki app is actually a great resource for learning Korean vocab words with flashcards. And the Anki app has pre-made decks with the most common Korean words. A really great memorization tactic is to associate the Korean words with words that you already know, or just associate them with anything that makes the word easy to recall. So you can try writing down your new words and also try writing anything that comes to mind that reminds you of the word. This is a great shortcut that a lot of people use when learning a new language. Next, you should focus on learning the most essential phrases in Korean. So, for example, 화장실 어디예요? That means, where's the bathroom? Or 이거 얼마예요? Which means, how much is this? There's actually a lot of Korean words that you already know also. So Korean contains hundreds of loan words from English that are essentially the same word as in English, but they're just said with the Korean pronunciation, and of course they're written in Hangeul. For example, kopi and keikgu. We also have Konglish words, which are English variations of words that are used in Korean, but they're not used exactly the same as we use them in English. For example, puffer jackets are called padding in Korean, and a dress is called a one-piece. So once you become familiar with the Korean pronunciation, you will be able to recognize many English loanwords and Konglish words. So next, sentence structure. One of the first things that you need to know is the Korean is a subject-object-verb language, and it just means that the verb comes at the end of the sentence, which might feel backwards if you are an English speaker. So instead of saying, I eat rice, you literally say, 저는 밥을 먹어요, which means I rice eat. Another example is to watch a movie. In Korean, you can say, 영화를 봐요, which literally means movie watch. So it's a simple shift, but it helps a lot once you start noticing the pattern. And then next is Korean numbers. And Korean actually has two number systems, which is very, very tricky, native and Sino. So you've probably heard 하나, 둘, 셋 in K-dramas, which is used for things like counting and hours. And then the Sino system is actually based on Chinese characters and is used for things like phone numbers, dates, and money. That can be quite confusing at first, and honestly, people who have studied the language for years still mix them up sometimes. So it is best to start getting familiar with both number systems right away. If you want all of the basics in one place, we have a free Korean quick start learning guide that you can download below, and it actually has everything that I just covered, so you can start strong without feeling overwhelmed. Now let's get into 3 powerful shortcuts that can help you learn Korean faster. Shortcut number 1 is to learn in chunks and not just words. For example, instead of just memorizing 가다, which means to go, if you learn a phrase like something 하러 가요, I'm going to do something, you can plug in things like 운동하다, so 운동하러 가요, which means I'm going to work out. So this really helps you speak more fluently and recognize patterns faster, since your brain is actually starting to get used to the real usable language. And then shortcut number 2 is to speak before you're ready. So speaking before you're ready is really important because while it might be tempting to wait until you're comfortable with a lot of words and sentences, trust me, it is a really big mistake. Fluency comes from doing and speaking and not waiting. So one method that helped me a ton is shadowing. It's just listening to a native speaker and then repeating out loud, trying to pronounce exactly everything they say in the same way that they both pronounce it and enunciate it. So it's just like you're acting in a drama. And it might feel a little bit weird at first, but it really trains your brain and your mouth to work together in this new language, and you'll be able to use the new patterns much easier. Like, 이거 뭐예요? 이거 맛있어요? That means, what is this? Or, this is delicious. They're basic things, but if you say them out loud, then it'll come much more naturally when you try to say it in a real life conversation. So you'll be able to improve way faster if you don't wait for some imaginary moment of being ready. And then shortcut number 3 is mastering the 20% that matters. So this is really taking advantage of the 80-20 rule. And to recap, the 80-20 rule is that 80% of your success is going to come from only 20% of your efforts. And most conversations in Korean actually only use a small set of words and phrases. So it's best not to waste your time memorizing rare or academic vocab in the beginning, and instead just focus on high-frequency verbs, nouns, and real-life situations, like ordering food, talking about your day, or asking for help. And when you focus on what you'll actually use, you'll build confidence in a way that's faster, and you'll start having real conversations sooner than you think. So here is a real 6-month game plan that you can use. If you want to start speaking Korean in 6 months, first you need to learn the basics. There's no way around it, as we discussed. Start with mastering Hangeul, which is the Korean alphabet, and get comfortable with real Korean words as soon as you can. Then start building up your essential Korean vocabulary and phrases and start using them in everyday situations, even if it's just talking to yourself as you're going about your day. You really don't have to wait for the perfect time to start speaking. And you do not need to have perfect grammar or a huge vocabulary to begin. Just what you need is consistency and a little bit of daily effort and the right amount of focus. So Remember that language learning is not about knowing everything, it is just about knowing what matters. Next, use the 80-20 rule to your advantage. So focus on the 20% of words and expressions that will show up in 80% of your conversations. And don't get sidetracked by trying to learn obscure or formal vocabulary too early. Just learn to talk about your day, ask what you need, and express how you feel. These are really the skills that build confidence fast and actually make Korean useful and rewarding from the very beginning. And also give yourself permission to sound awkward or slow at first. That is just part of the process. And the more you speak, the faster that you're going to improve. Next, watch K-dramas or listening to Korean music can help you with immersion, but the real key is speaking out loud, shadowing the native speakers, and practicing daily, even if it is just for 10 minutes. And most importantly, don't give up. Progress might feel slow on some days, but if you are consistent, you will be very surprised at how much you can improve over time. I've been exactly where you are, feeling overwhelmed and wondering if I would just never be able to hold a conversation, but I stuck with it, and now I can say with confidence that if I was able to learn Korean in just 6 months, you can too. So take that first step, be patient with yourself, and have fun with it. Make it a part of your daily life. So write out words, speak out loud, listen, repeat, and celebrate the small wins. Learning a new language is one of the most difficult, but also one of the most rewarding things that you can do. I would love to hear how your language learning journey is going and cheer you on. So what's your favorite Korean phrase? Let me know in the comments below.